The Rumburk Loreto, with the statue of a Black Madonna of Loreto, is an important Marian pilgrimage site in northern Bohemia. It was built in the 18th century as part of the Capuchin monastery of St. Lawrence. After its forced dissolution, Loreto came under clerical administration of the deanery of the Roman Catholic parish of Rumburk. Since 1964, the Loreto complex has been a recognized cultural monument. In 1996, the deanery of the Roman Catholic parish of Rumburk launched a complete renovation of the complex. The restoration and construction works were mainly funded by the Ministry of Culture of the Czech Republic, but other donors also contributed. The Capuchin Monastery and the Church of St. Lawrence. The church was the most important part of the Capuchin Monastery of St. Lawrence in Rumburk. The impulse to build the monastery and the Church of St. Lawrence came from a court official and diplomat, Count Franz Eusebius of Pötting, the owner of the Rumburk estate, who obliged his heirs to do so in his will of 1662. The monastery was designed to accommodate 12 monks, and both the monastery and church building were funded by Anton Florian, Prince of Liechtenstein. The furnishings of the monastery were paid for by Johann Sebastian, Count of Pötting. The Church of St. Lawrence was constructed between 1683 and 1685, while the plans were drawn by Father Giorgio Monasensio, himself a monk of the Capuchin order. The church was consecrated on the 9th of April 1690. The early Baroque church of St. Lawrence has a longitudinal layout with a side chapel of St. Anthony of Padua and a Capuchin choir. A two-storey monastery building attached to the northwest side of the church has housed the town library since 1994. Below the nave of St. Lawrence Church, there is a 16-metre-long crypt from 1683, where the remains of 29 persons were laid to rest. They probably belonged to the monks of the former Capuchin monastery and members of the princely house of Liechtenstein. The Capuchins lived in Rumburk for almost 300 years, from the foundation of the monastery until its dissolution in 1950. Under the so-called Action K, the communist state abolished all religious orders and congregations in Czechoslovakia. After the compulsory dissolution of the monastery, the Church of St. Lawrence was used by both the Czechoslovak and Orthodox churches until 1957, when it was taken over by the Catholic Church again. The Christmas crib of the Church of St. Lawrence in Rumburk dates back to 1922 and is the third of its kind. Many carvers from the Šluknov region took part in its production. The craftsman responsible for the town, the stable, the ruins and the side parts of the landscape is Edward Kindermann from Jirkov. The landscape, which was painted by Josef Neumann Sr. from Horní Jindřichov in 1897, was originally part of a previous Christmas crib. The Rumburk Monastery Christmas crib, which consists of 100 figures and occupies an area of about 20 square meters, is located in the side chapel of St. Anthony of Padua. It was restored by Jiří Votruba, a crib maker from Roztoky near Prague, in 2011. More figures were added by Jaroslav Blažek, another crib maker from Rumburk, in 2013. These depicted the flight to Egypt. The crib was completed in 2017, when the last of the group figures was added, including the three kings and the Madonna with baby Jesus on her lap, all carved by Jaroslav Blažek. Rumburk Loreto. The Loreto Chapel tells the whole 2,000-year-old story of Mary, Joseph, and Jesus through paintings and statues. The Loreto Chapel in Rumburk is one of the most valuable Loreto chapels in the Czech Republic, admired for its relief and sculptural decorations. The outer shell of the chapel is of great historical value, since it is a Baroque copy of an Italian Renaissance original. The chapel was built with the personal participation of Johann Lucas Hildebrandt, a Baroque architect. It was built on the initiative of the owner of the Rumburk estate, a Spanish grandee and diplomat, Anton Florian, Prince of Liechtenstein, 1656 to 1721, who served Emperor Charles IV. The impetus for the construction of the Loreto was provided by Prince Anton Florian's personal visit to the famous Marian pilgrimage site of Loreto near Ancona. The Rumburk Loreto Chapel was consecrated on the 15th of September 1707. Initially, it was going to be surrounded by a cloister. In 1753, a tower was erected above the entrance building. One of the most valuable parts of the cloister are the holy stairs with a Calvary chapel, which were consecrated in 1770. They symbolize the staircase in front of the Jerusalem palace, where Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea, interrogated Jesus. Jesus ascended this staircase several times. The original staircase is now in Rome. The Black Mother of God of Loreto. Apart from the Loreto Chapel, the object of worship that attracts pilgrims to Rumburk is the statue of the Black Mother of God of Loreto. The statue was commissioned by Anton Florian, Prince of Liechtenstein, after his visit to the Loreto in Italy. Worshipping the Virgin Mary was said to have led to about 30 healing miracles, which were recorded in the Loreto Book of Visitors by the end of the 19th century. Pleas for help supported by ardent prayer are believed to have helped sufferers of epilepsy, blindness, infertility, limited mobility or madness.